Hello, this is Erin Giles, and I am elated to have Michael Bungay Stanier with us today. He is the senior partner and innovator at Box of Crayons, the author of many inventive books, including my personal favorite, Do More Great Work, and one of the initiators of End Malaria Day. Michael, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Yeah, pleasure. Nice to have you. Nice to be talking to you too, Erin.
Awesome. First, I want to thank you, obviously, for taking on End Malaria Day. It was definitely the inspiration for End Sex Trafficking Day, and I would love to hear the story behind how it came to life. So what led you to create that?
The seed for it is something that my friend Anton used to call my Messiah complex, which is a sense of I should be saving the world, right? And I do a lot of work in the world of corporations, and I'm very, pleased and happy about the work that I do in big organizations. But I also wanted to have a sense that I wasn't just serving people who already had reasonably good lives in North American companies. So having written Do More Great Work, where it says you should do a great work project as a way of creating focus and courage and resilience to get your great work done, I kind of went, well, I should probably follow at least some of my own advice on this case. So I went up to my local coffee shop and I went, right, what are my assets? What do I know about? So I know some people through the people I've met through the web and the like. I know how to write a book. I know how to create stuff fairly quickly and try and engage people around it. And at some time earlier, I'd seen an ebook by Seth Godin, who's one of the partners in all of this, which is a collection of other people's point of view around different topics. And I went, that's interesting, a nice way of creating buzz and making something go viral. So I went, okay, so what if I could create something like a book that involved other people's contributions that would raise a certain amount of money? Sounds interesting. So research, and I actually found that what I thought was the cheapest unit of global change was $10. That's what it takes to buy a mosquito net. Malaria is one of the United Nations key targets to try and eliminate. Huge amounts of people are affected by malaria, particularly in Africa. So I went, wow, if I could raise $10 per unit, I'd love to be able to create something where it's like, buy this, buy a net. And so buy this, buy a net became the basic equation in my head. And in my first go at trying to launch this, I gave up because I couldn't quite make it all work. Even though my publisher, Workman, who published Do More Great Work, had gone, we'll cover the cost of printing the first 10,000 copies of your book, which was amazing. I couldn't find a way of extracting the money from the publishing machine quickly enough to get it to the charity. And I was like, it's a good idea, but it's all too hard. But then when Seth announced a year-long project called the Domino Project, which is him playing around with different ways of publishing books, he went, there's actually something interesting here, because maybe he'll be the sword that cuts through the bureaucracy and will be able to track the money. So I'd been sending Seth emails for 5 or 6 years, and he'd be responding to most of them. So he kind of knew me a little bit. So I pitched the idea to Seth. I had a number of these people's essays already written and collected. So I had enough momentum to say, look, this isn't just an idea, it's actually a thing in motion. And he went, fantastic, great. Right now, get it done immediately. And it all kind of spiraled from there.
What help did you have from Malaria No More?
I had, I chose Malaria No More because I thought they were kind of a more savvy social media-based organization. They got some kind of polished branding, and they understand Twitter and stuff. You always hope for more. It's like when you write a book, you do all this sort of stuff. You kind of go, hey, help me out with this. Throw some weight behind it. And I suspect they were like, this is great, we're excited about it, but we don't really know what you're doing, and we've all got our day jobs, so carry on. But we got their basic support. I would have loved, David Beckham to have been pictured with a copy of the book, because he's a spokesman for Malaria No More, and they've got people on boards, so I thought maybe we can get some corporate engagement around that, and we never quite got there, but that could be as much a combination of me having unrealistically high expectations about what was possible. It's a good place because you start boldly. It just means that you get disappointed. So that's part of the deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the resistance in all ways. How, if you don't mind sharing, just even if it's a range, how much was raised for Malaria No More with the book?
Somewhere we think around about $350,000.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, was all
awesome.
of that in one day? Or that's
No,
over time, because I know it's still selling.
still selling a little bit, I think. Partly it came because we got some corporate sponsors. So some people just chipped in some money to have their name on the ebook and the Kindle edition and stuff. It's hard to say exactly when it is because I don't actually get to see the money or the numbers because it just goes straight to Malaria No More from Amazon, because Amazon became a partner. That was part of the way it all worked.
Domino project,
It wasn't all raised on one day, but I would say that I'm going to guess that 75% of that money was raised in that 1 week where we we put all our chips on the table and went, it's all about this one day.
Yep.
So we didn't do any kind of build up to it, any kind of, my book is coming in a week or a month or whatever. We just went, it's out of nowhere. We're just going back trying to make this happen.
Yeah, and I remember, I mean, it felt like everybody was tweeting about it, and that's, of course, when I first heard about it, when Danielle Laporte put it on her website. I was like, oh my God, I love it. Fantastic. Yeah. Personally, I've seen numerous priceless benefits to my personal life, to my business, from taking on, from baking philanthropy into my business when I didn't even, in the first place, I didn't think of it as a strategy. It was just something that I got an idea at like 10 p.m. and remembered what you did. And, I saw a documentary called Nefarious about global sex trafficking. So for me, it wasn't, the strategy that I was building into my marketing plan. What have been the biggest benefits, either personally or for Box of Crayons, because of this?
Yeah, personally, the benefit for me was feeling that I have made a contribution beyond the work I do in my corporate level. Contribution that's beyond serving people in first world countries. The funkiness of seeing the book get up to #2 on Amazon.com and the excitement of tracking that. The opportunity to connect with people and to learn about collaboration. The opportunity to work with Seth Godin and his teams around what does that mean and how does he think. So, there's a bunch of things come down to experience and stories that I can tell, which are great.
And a reputation. I mean, you don't have a reputation of just talking the talk. You've walked the walk, Great work.
Yeah.
That's what you're all about.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for an entrepreneur that wants to be socially responsible, in an innovative way, such as you did?
Well, I think if you can be socially responsible in either an innovative or a non-innovative way, that's all good. And just understanding that, there's good research that says you are happier when you're helping others. Yeah. So just on a very basic level, you're happy. On another very basic level, other people are happier because you're helping them, or they're benefiting because you're helping them. So it's one of those things that if you can do it, it's a wonderful thing to do. I recognize that for lots of entrepreneurs or people who are with a regular job working for somebody, there's a ton of other things on your plate, everything from earning a buck to making a sale to being a boss to dealing with kids or whatever it might be. So lots of people with really busy lives. And one of the benefits of declaring a great work project is you declare and you make space for something that matters. So I'll add this in when I get the time. You know already that you're doomed. But if you go, I'm just going to make this part of what I do and how I do it, then things become easier. And, at a very basic level, there are things like, 1% for the planet, where you go, I'm going to give 1% of my gross to this thing which supports environmental causes. Or you make one of the things that we do is when we have a new client come on board or a new project, we make a small gift to Nature Conservancy. And what Nature Conservancy does is they write the client a nice little card, and the client is thrilled because it's an interesting little gesture. I feel like it's a bit like making a small sacrifice on a temple for good luck and good wishes ahead. And we just happen to have tied a little bit of philanthropy in with it. So, it's like if you can find little ways to give back, it doesn't have to be $350,000 because that's an enormous amount of money. It can be $35 and that would be awesome.
And the one thing I love about, the idea of taking on a collaborative project such as End Malaria Day is you don't have to be a billionaire to do it. I mean, that's one thing I found with taking on End Sex Trafficking Day. I was not making a lot of money at the time of starting it, but I knew, I knew it was something I needed to do, and that's just an amazing example for new entrepreneurs that aren't making maybe they're making $30,000 a year. They don't need to give 10% of their income. They can take on a project and give of their time.
Yeah, exactly. Now, obviously, I am a billionaire several times over. You can tell that by just looking at me. But other people, lesser people than me, who aren't billionaires, you can also do this.
Love it. Okay, from everything you are involved in, to keynote speaking, to writing, you're very, very busy. What is your secret for getting things done and remaining creatively fresh?
Yeah, I have an army of slaves who do and
Perfect.
So it's awesome, yeah. What is my secret to my success? Well, doing stuff that I think is important and is connected to a bigger picture for me certainly helps. So I have over the years kind of got clear about what I stand for, what my values are, what my mission is, and why I'm trying to do it. And so that really helps. I have a lot of support in that, both kind of guidance. I have a mastermind group who we check in on the web 3 to 5 days a week. We talk every 2 weeks. We meet for 3 or 4 days once a year. I have a coach, Ernest. I have another little support group, mastermind group here in Toronto. I have a lot of people making me look good and helping me stay smart and me through dark days. Then I've got an amazing team. So I've got Marcella, who's my COO, who basically takes on running a lot of the company and managing a lot of other people who support us so that I can stay focused on what I do. And, part of that has been a process of learning to A, ask for help, and B, learning that I don't need to have my fingers in absolutely every single. So I've had to evolve as a person as well. And army of slaves.
Collaboration and asking for help, and the slaves, of course. Yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much, Michael, for taking time out of your busy schedule, and most importantly, for paving the way for entrepreneurs like myself to really, do great work and be an example of somebody who's just really making a difference. Thank you so much.
A pleasure.